Yo, what up? It's your boy Destructive Films, and today I got a special guest, my homeboy Rick, aka First Aim Then Shoot.
What up? What up?
Good deal, fool. Thank you for coming through. I want to start off by just introducing yourself. Giving them a little bit of your background. I've seen the growth from the beginning to where he's at right now, and the point of today, the reason I wanted to have this conversation with him today for you guys is just to encourage maybe somebody that's thinking about getting into the field, picking up a camera. Maybe they're nervous, maybe they don't know what to do, and we can give them some pointers.
All right, cool. Well, where I'm at now, just recently, yesterday, officially first time being published.
Oh, yeah. Shit, congrats.
Thank you.
That's a big deal right there.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So it's cool. Everything's starting to come to realization and manifest to reality, you know what I'm saying? Right. And it's been a few long years, you know what I'm saying? Just from starting, not knowing how everything worked, to finally now the ball's starting to pick up.
Yeah.
But I'm just shooting anything and everything that I can, you know, photos, a little bit of video.
Right.
But I'm down with it all, you know. I'm trying to do portraits and you know, stuff like that, you know.
Rick is a super hard shooter. Photos are just fire. Candid shots are amazing. Shit is as many times as I could, I try to take him with me on all the shoots that I can, just to get that BTS, because he's a hard shooter. So if anybody out there needs a shooter, make sure you tap in with my boy First Aim Then Shoot. All right, so let's take it to the beginning. Hell yeah. All right, so let's take it back to the beginning of your days, to maybe the days that you were thinking about picking up a camera. What encouraged you to pick that up and get started?
Well, you know what? Our timelines kind of matched, right? So I've always been interested in like photo, video, creative lifestyle.
Right.
And we both quit our jobs at the same time. Now, the only difference was like you already had your clientele. You know, you already like 400 music videos deep. You know what I'm saying? So like you quit your job and then you were just already rolling. You know what I mean? Everybody knew fucking Destructive Films. Let's go, you know?
Right.
And, you know, we had conversations, you know, and it was inspiring to have somebody in the same timeline, to be just as passionate about something and knowing and seeing you and your growth from then till now. You know, being at that same point, that's kind of what inspired me. And I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go full throttle. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's kind of where it started. You know what I'm saying? So I reached out to you and I was like, yo, well, anytime you got a shoot, you need some extra help. I like, you know, it ain't about the money. I just want to come out and, you know, however I can help, whatever.
You're right.
And then, you know, I started rolling with you. I started seeing things. And that was inspiring, and that's kind of like what pushed me a little more to be like, you know what, I could do this, and I'm gonna figure it out one way or another. You know?
Right. You made a really good point right now when you said, you know, when you're in your early days, is not about the money. I feel like some people jump into this thinking it's like, bam, like you're just gonna fucking everything's gonna be so amazing, the money's gonna be crazy, but it's not. The beginning is a struggle.
Yeah.
And the early days, let's talk about how, you know, sometimes you just gotta get out there and shoot and don't even stress about the money, because it's about learning.
Yeah.
It's about picking up all the game that you can.
Yeah.
It's about getting yourself out there. But let's talk about that. What are some of the things that you went through in the beginning, as you were maybe just dipping into this?
Well, I will say it's a learning process, and you really have to ask yourself the hard questions of what you want to do, what you're good at. But essentially what it comes down to is you have to get out there in the field and put in the work. You know what I'm saying? When I say the field, it's like it could be just picking up a camera and going outside and shooting, learning the fundamentals of your camera, how it works, to talking to people who might be interested in, you know, whatever you could offer them, going to places where people might be interested in that type of stuff, and just shooting, you know. And a lot of the times I would go to these networking little community events, take my camera, and then just ask everybody for the Instagram, or their email or whatever. And you know what I mean? If I got some cool shots, boom, shoot it to them. And sometimes they'll give me the credit, sometimes not, whatever, you know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, I've been able to meet a lot of interesting people, a lot of doors open just by having the conversation, not being scared to talk to people, and just, you know.
Another key fact that you just threw in there pretty much is networking. That's what you're doing. You know, when you pull up to these events, yo, this is my IG, check out my work. Maybe we can work someday, collabing. Yeah. But, you know, getting out there and speaking to people, it's, you know, it's a key factor in doing this and building relationships and, you know.
Well, yeah, it's not just pressing a button, you know,
100%.
Like, you're not just taking pictures. You're not just doing videos. You're not just building a studio. You know what I'm saying? It's more than just one thing that you're doing. And that's what you have to realize before you jump in. You have to be a salesperson. You have to know a little bit of marketing. You know, like, it's this whole world that you're jumping into. And it could seem like a little scary at first. You know, you don't know, like, it's like jumping into the deep end.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't know how deep it goes. You might not know how to swim, but
that goes to is just not, your work is only going to take you so far. Like, say somebody jumps off the bat and they're just fire at what they do. You know, some people do just have it like that, are natural, but just the work itself is not going to take you to the next level. You have to go out there and speak and talk and connect.
Yeah. It's more than just one thing is what I'm trying to say. So you have to have a multitude of skills to take you to that next level.
In the beginning, it may be a little bit overwhelming when it comes down to equipment. You know, some people may think that you have to have the best equipment to start off, or for anybody to even like your work. And that's not the case at all. You know, we all start where we could. You know, some people could start a little higher than others. Shit, man. I mean, the equipment that I had in the beginning was, you know, at the very bottom of the tier. But it wasn't about that. And it was about learning the camera and learning the settings, getting all your tools together. So talk about that.
Hey, you know what everybody's in trip on right now? The camera that you had, I bought off you. Yes. And that's the one I'm using. So that's the perfect example of it's not always the tool you have, but what, you knowing how to use it is what's more important, you know?
A lot more important.
Yeah, cause that's like an 8-9-year-old camera, you know what I'm saying? And I'm out here doing concerts and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? So you want the best equipment, but at the end of the day, you're not just looking for a crisp photo. You're looking to capture the emotions of the people you're taking photos of. And you could look at photos that are over 30 years old and you know what I mean? They could be grainy and not out of focus, but it could be inspiring. So you just have to look at it from that point of view. You're documenting, and unless you're doing like a billboard or something where you have to blow up your photo so huge, you don't need all those crazy megapixels and super sharp. But
that's what I love about your work. You're able to capture just the feeling, the moment. Like, I'm going to slap some photos right here on the video so you guys can kind of see what I mean. But it's more about how does it make you feel looking at that? And you're able to capture that emotion, and it doesn't matter what you're using. Matter of fact, 90% of the time, they don't care what you're using. They're not really asking you. What they're after is the end result. Like, what did he do with it? You know, then the day doesn't matter what you use, but what did you do with it? And what was the final product? Did you love it? Was it amazing? Did it make you feel like you're there? Then there it is. You know, that's all you need. So that's what I love about your work.
Thank you. Yeah. And I got a lot of practice doing behind the scenes for you at first, you know, cause like there's two things with photography, at least from my point of view. It's either you're capturing the moment or you're creating a moment. And a lot of, the beginning when I got started, a lot of times it was capturing the moment, you know, when I was behind the scenes with you, that's kind of where I got my first shoots in. you're creating the moment. So I'm just in the background anticipating the motion and, you know what I mean? The movements and stuff. And I'm like, oh, I know they're about to, this fool's telling a joke. He's about to laugh. Like, boom, let me get it. You know what I'm saying? So that kind of helped me. You know, everybody's experience is different, but, if I could give a tip for anybody watching who wants to get better at candids, is just put your camera down and just watch. Go to a park and just watch. If you know what I mean, watch a conversation, see how it goes, and then like anticipate when it's going to happen, and then bust out with your camera and have that same perspective, and just, you know, that's how I do it.
Yeah, I know. I love that. And you know what? I love that because that applies to video too. Like sometimes you just gotta just fuck focusing on how you want to set it up. Just stop, look, get the feeling, and then move. You know, take a breather, get the feeling, get the vibe. What do you want to do with it? Where do you want to take it? And then bam, go for it. You know, move forward. You know, so sometimes we may think that we have to know it all or know it all before we start working professionally, but you don't.
Not at all.
You really don't. You know, you figure it out as you go. That's a part of the journey. That's a part of the process. You know, trial and error, very important. Can you speak a little bit about your experiences?
Well, first of all, you're never going to fucking know it. Everything that you need to know. You know what I'm saying?
Facts,
if you look back at everything from when you started learning how to talk, you need to know your ABCs, the conversations, and that just continues throughout life. When you learn a new thing, it's new because you don't know it all, and you'll never know it all because everything's constantly evolving. But for me, it's been hard, but I've learned to just go with the flow. Yeah, you're not going to know everything. Just,
it doesn't stop. You'll never stop learning.
Yeah, it never stops. Just take note of what you know. And, you know, take note of what you know, keep doing what you're doing, and just look back and you'll see the growth.
Just get a little bit better next time.
Yeah.
A little bit better next time.
Yeah.
And, you know, pick this up and you found this new editing tool and this little extra, you know, you just keep adding to your arsenal.
Yeah.
And you will always just keep evolving and growing. And you don't have to know it all in the beginning. You really don't.
You don't have to know it all, but just be thirsty for information.
Yes.
If you don't know something, just study, learn everything you can about it, but don't sweat it.
Right.
You know,
let's talk about YouTube. You know, YouTube helped me so much.
University.
YouTube University. It's the real deal right there. I'm a fucking straight graduate from right there.
Well, I've learned so much from YouTube. It's ridiculous, you know,
right.
but that's the amazing thing about our era, you know what I'm saying? Like, just type something up real quick and you got 20, 30, up to 100 or more people just telling you their perspective, what they know. And it's like,
I'm not going to lie though. Like a lot of them on YouTube are no good. Like they kind of suck, you know, but when you do find the right channel and the right person, like you'll learn so much, you know, so, but dig though, you know, do your homework, find a person that's kind of like, that you really like their style, you know, you know, and go from there. And that specific channel is going to help you grow a lot. You'll find it.
Facts. I've learned a lot from YouTube, and like you're saying, there's so much, and when you know nothing and you're trying to learn, it's hard to distinguish what's like the facts between what's not. You know what I'm saying? But
go ahead, my bad.
It's you just had to do your homework. You know, compare what's really captivating you to the other options you have, and then you could kind of see, you know, like read the comments, you know what I'm saying, and then the people that are like validating, like, okay, what you're saying is true, or like, nah, this isn't really true. Like you know, do your research. Right,
is a complete overload of info on YouTube. You just got to find the effective ones for you and for your field and for what you're trying to do.
Yeah, whatever helps you, I guess, is what we're trying to say. You know, whatever makes sense to you and could take you to that next level is really what's important.
What kind of things were you doing when you first picked up the camera to practice, you know, to go out there, shoot and do, or what do you recommend for people to do when they're first starting off? I would take my camera everywhere. Family, parties,
to the park. Just try to get used to the settings. I put myself, go outside when the sun's bright, go inside when it's dark, and then just try and test myself to the different settings, you know. I've never really been the type to have like people pose and stuff. Like that's still a difficult thing for me. I'm still getting used to it. So it's always been more of like behind the scenes. I'll pull up and you know, I'll pull up somewhere and just trying to get used to my camera, you know what I'm saying? And whoever jumps in front of it, cool, I'll grab a shot. But that's kind of how I started, just taking it everywhere, trying to figure out everything that I could about it. But that was pretty much the beginning, just take it anywhere and everywhere.
Get that camera, take it everywhere you go, shoot all the moments that you want to shoot, and practice.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, and you're only going to go up from there.
Mm-hmm.
Not going to get any worse. You're only going to get better.
Yeah.
You know?
And if you do get worse, then maybe try something else.
I want to be a mechanic or something.
It's not for everybody, and that's fine.
Right. Is there anything that maybe slowed you down as you were starting, that maybe you were overthinking, or just anything that kind of held you back, that may be holding somebody else back, that you can help them?
Yeah, worrying too much about equipment, you know, or worrying too much about equipment. I was too into YouTube University, watching like the best camera this, the best camera that. And I'm like, damn, they hella out of my budget. Maybe, you know, maybe I should wait till I get the funds to go out and shoot. But that was a limiting belief, thinking that I needed the best camera. You know, like I said, I'm still using an 8-9-year-old camera right now, and I'm doing things with it.
Amazing things with it.
Thank you. So that would be the number one thing. Don't focus too much on equipment, things that are out of your reach. Like a lot of people say, the best camera is the camera you have.
Damn,
so,
like that. Yeah.
So that's one thing that was holding me back. Another thing was probably just not going out to networking events and stuff like that. Like I would take the photos and hoard them, you know?
Yeah.
Like I have like mad hard drives, mad terabytes, fucking all kinds of stuff that's not released, you know?
Right.
So thinking too much about equipment and not sharing my work.
Maybe thinking it's not the perfect photo, I can't put it out. Put your work out.
Because I've had some photos that I've shared that I've been sitting on. Hey, that's hard. How come you didn't? You know what I'm saying? Right. So it's like, just don't worry about your equipment, share your work, and then just keep doing it. You know, keep shooting, keep talking to people.
Let me tell you guys a quick story, real quick. I've been in multiple sets, different times, where there would be, you know, other people with cameras, and they'll pull up with their Reds, and they're all built up. And I'm not going to lie, you know, I'll be like, damn, like, you know, I got my Sony A7S III. These guys are pulling up with the big dogs, you know, with the movie cameras. And I would feel a little bit intimidated until I would see their releases, and they were okay. You know, it wasn't what I expected. I expected fucking movie shit. Why? Because it's a Red. But just because it's a Red don't mean that the work is going to be amazing, because ultimately it's the operator of the camera and the operator knowing what they're doing, and their settings and their lenses and just composition, lighting, all of that stuff is way more important than the type of camera that you have. You know?
I can add to that. So just recently, I started working with Lighter Shaded Brown. Shout out Money Moons and ODM.
Shout out.
The first event they invited me to, right? It was El Monte. Well, I met Moons at the shoot in Riverside, right?
Yeah.
And he reached out to me and invited me to come shoot at one of their shows in El Monte. And I had pulled up. They weren't there yet. I'm kicking it right there, waiting to jump in the VIP in the back. And I'm posted right there with the same camera. Right. You know what I'm saying? My 8-9-year-old camera posted up right there, waiting for the homies to show up. And And then I'm looking back there, just scoping it out, seeing who's back there, who's shooting. I'm seeing their shit, bro. And they're walking around with like $10,000 worth of equipment. I'm like, damn, you know what I'm saying? But then I thought, well, fuck, the homies brought me out. You know what I'm saying? Like they fuck with my shit. Like, well, why am I tripping on this fucking shit? You know what I mean? Like
right.
I had to check myself real quick. And you know what I'm saying? I go back and I look, and yeah, those photos are fucking crispy and clean, but it's like, I felt like I captured a little more emotion in some of the pics, at least from what I seen. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's another thing too, where we had to check ourselves in that situation. Right. Like, stop tripping. You know what I'm saying? Like,
stop tripping on that equipment. It's not that serious. It's really not. Everything else is more important. Don't trip. You ain't got the best of the best. It's all good. Mm-hmm. Go out there and get it. Sony A6300. That's just putting in work in 2024. Yeah. Crazy. Yeah. So don't stress it. It's all good. Pick that shit up. Go out there and go shoot. Period. I'm gonna throw a gunshot in there. Yeah. Is there any limiting beliefs and finding inspiration to get out of those limiting beliefs?
So when I was on YouTube University, I had noticed I was learning a lot, and one back to one of the limiting beliefs was equipment, but also perspective, thinking I had to know everything before I went out in the field to start doing stuff. Like, all right, I'm gonna learn all this stuff, then I'm gonna go out. But there's always something you're gonna need to learn. It's an ongoing process. And one of the things that kind of took me out of it was a perspective from a photographer. I forget his name, but I look back at all the photographs throughout the evolution of the work, and it's always been focused just on the moment and on the people. And throughout like 30, 40 years of his work, it's always just been the moment, the person. And then I thought about it. I'm like, well, you don't need to know all this information to get started. You just need to go out and do it. So yeah, first of all, you don't need the equipment and you don't need the knowledge. You just need to go out. So the first thing that was stopping me was thinking I needed the best camera.
Right.
And then the other thing that was stopping me from going out was thinking I needed to know everything before I went out. And then just realizing and seeing other people's work, you're supposed to go out and have fun with it. You know what I'm saying? So just go out and shoot. Don't worry about knowing all the settings, So that was one of the things that was holding me back, was thinking I had to know everything. And it took being inspired through somebody's work to be like, it's not that important to know everything. It's just, what's more important is just to get out there and do what you love. You know what I'm saying? And I think some people get focused on having to know everything because they're not that passionate about it. If you're really passionate about something and you want to do it, you just go out and do it, and you'll learn as you go. You know what I'm saying? It'll be fun. Always learning. It'll be fun. Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. It took me a couple years to learn, like, to really dial in what it is for my settings. In the beginning, I didn't pay too much attention to it, but I was out there shooting still. Yeah. It wasn't stopping me. Yeah. I'm a lot less of like a perfectionist. I'm more of just like, fuck it. I'm just going to figure it out, but that's just to maybe inspire some of you guys. You don't have to know everything, and you'll figure it out, little by little, one thing at a time. Building a resume when you're starting off, you're thinking about getting into the field. You want to take it serious now. You've been shooting, you've been having fun with it, you've been learning, but now you want to build a resume to maybe get potential clients. How important is that?
Building a resume is
important. Should they? Why should they build a resume? Why should they care? Why should they just not be able to hit somebody up? Yo, I do this and I charge this. Where's your work? What can you do? What can you do? What am I paying for?
Well, advertisement and marketing is a multi-million-dollar industry. If you're doing music videos and you put that portfolio, or what's the term we're using?
Resume.
Yeah. So if you're doing music videos and you put a link to all your music videos in a resume, and then you put that out there for people who are doing like construction commercials.
Okay.
Like it doesn't fit. So your resume has to
know your market.
You have to know your market, right? Essentially. But it's important to have a resume because it shows your market, and it shows your market what you're capable of and the value you bring. But if you don't know your market, that's fine. You'll find it eventually. But a resume is very important. Whether that's a website, Instagram, you know what I'm saying, pulling up to a little gallery and you got your pictures, you just got to put your stuff out there.
Right. This is how I see it when it comes down to resume. Somebody taps in because maybe they heard about you, or maybe somebody recommended you, and a lot of people are big talk, I could do this and that, and I've done this and that. What I like to do is, here's my resume. Here's my work. It speaks for itself. Yeah. Your resume will speak for you. You don't have to say much. Yeah. This is what I can do. This is what I can provide. This is my service. Bam. Look at it.
Yeah.
You like it? Let's move forward. Let's get it.
Yeah.
So a resume will speak for you.
There you go.
Rather than trying to shove your work down somebody's throat.
Yeah.
So when somebody says, yo, I'm trying to hire you for this. I heard that you're good and you can do this and that. All right, cool. Bam. Here's my work. If you like it, because there's many different styles.
Yeah.
Everybody has a different style. My work is not for everybody. Your work is not for everybody. You got to make sure that they like the style that you provide. And then bam.
Mm-hmm.
That's where your resume comes in handy. Bam. This is my resume. This is what I do. So, all right, let's move forward. In the beginning, none of us have a clientele.
No.
We had to build relationships and get our clientele. Talk about your experience, getting clientele, maybe tapping in with certain people, businesses. How was it for you? Like, how do you approach it? How did you approach it? How do you approach people? Or in the beginning, when you're trying to when you're trying to get your work, seen, and
I think
offering your service, free service.
For me, that was one of the things I didn't know. You know how we're talking about not knowing everything? That's one of the things I was unsure of. I didn't know how to go about it. So what I did is I just put myself in areas where people who might be interested in my work are, talk to them. And sometimes those conversations will come out and work. Hey, whether with them or somebody they knew,
right?
So I didn't really have a plan when I first started. Now I have a little more understanding of the game, how it works, so I have a different perspective on it now.
Right.
To where I'll reach out to people who might be interested in the work, who I know are doing things and I know they need my services.
Right.
As opposed to before, it's like, I don't know who needs my work. I don't know who would be interested in my work, but now I have the knowledge of the value I could bring, what I'm good at, and then who would appreciate that. I have a little better understanding of it now. Like I'm still trying to learn more.
Mm-hmm. But now that you know how to move, because you got a different perspective now and you know how to move, somebody that's maybe doesn't know how to move, like how we both were in the beginning, what would you say maybe they can do to help them?
First of all, your work. What are you good at? What are you not good at? What do you like to do? What do you not like to do? And then move to yourself. What are you good at? Can you talk to people? You know what I'm saying? Are you nervous? Are you better in person, over the phone, conversations? You know what I'm saying? And once you have all that information, you get a good idea of what you could offer potential clients, what you bring to the table. So at least for me, the way I look at it, I've been in the sales my whole life. I've sold cars. I've done all kinds of jobs, construction, right? So, I don't have no problem talking to people, you know what I'm saying? Like being on camera is a little different, you know what I'm saying? I'm not used to this, but like being out, I'll talk to anybody in the street, wherever. This industry is people oriented, relationships. There's a lot of conversations and you had to know how to communicate. Communication is one of the biggest things. So what I would say is just to start off with knowing your value and your work and yourself, and where you could position that to get to maximize your potential and your earning.
Right.
Does that make sense?
What are you good at? Tap into people that are in that field. DM them.
Yeah.
Call them. Email them. Text them.
Yeah.
Get some work in with them. Whether it's free in the beginning to build a relationship, to learn, to gain experience dealing with clients, and then move forward like that. You'll learn as you go.
Exactly.
Right. You've gone through all these steps. Bam. In the beginning, going up, dealing with people, learning. Your photos are evolving. Your work is evolving. Now you're tapping into the professional market, dealing with big names, big artists. Talk to us about your experience, about, where you're at now,
Well, shout out to the homies, Slider Shade of Brown again.
Shout out to
what I'm
them.
saying? They've been taking me on tour with them, and I've been learning a lot. It's been a trip for me, growing up, listening to somebody bumping that shit, and then being homies with them, being on tour with them, and one of the things I've learned is it all comes down to relationships and giving more,
going above and beyond.
yeah, giving more value than what's expected of you.
Right.
And I feel like that's opened a lot of doors for me. And I see the relationships that they have, and it's over time,
Right.
Some things start small and they build momentum and they grow. And it's you know what I'm saying? Like these, like it's still new for me, like I don't have much experience, much to speak on, except for the fact that all these opportunities that have been given to me, I feel like they've come from a genuine relationship. Like with me and you, we've known each other for a long time. We started working together, but it's always been like, how can I help you out? And anybody that I've extended that same effort to, I've seen doors open,
Right. 100%. Relationships are very important. Building relationships, new relationships, keeping your old relationships,
maintaining.
Yeah. Okay. So relationships are just a big key factor in this game, building relationships, maintaining them. But like how you said, going up above and beyond you've always seen good result from that. So have I. Anybody that I work with, I always try to go just a step above and beyond. And most of the time it's appreciated.
Yeah.
And most of the time they're going to think about calling you next time.
Yeah.
Versus the other guy, because this game is super, super saturated. So what are you going to do to stand out? I'm going to go above and beyond for these guys. I'm going to
over deliver.
I'm going to over deliver, and I'm going to blow them away with what the fuck I can do. I'm going to show them what's up. So, all right.
And you can't get, when somebody doesn't appreciate that, you can't let that stop you.
Right.
Because it's a blessing for you to over deliver and to do all these things. And for someone to come in and like, oh, whatever, like if you let that stop you, that's a bad thing.
Right. Yes, it's discouraging.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, damn, I did whatever. But don't let that bother you. Don't let that stop you. At the end of the day, you did something good.
Yeah.
You did something good.
And the real always recognize real.
100%.
Like out of all the shoots that I've been to, all the Instagrams that I got, all the photos that I've shared and not gotten tagged.
Right.
Or not gotten no credit, like whatever, who cares? But the ones who give you your credit and open those doors for you, it makes up for it.
Us as creatives and putting our work out like that, like, a tag goes a long way.
Yeah.
To us, it means a lot.
Yeah.
Like, yo, credit here. This is the guy that put this together or took that photo. Like, it goes a long way because you never know who's looking, and tapping in like, yo, I like that photo. Let me get into his Instagram. But how are they going to find you? They love that photo. How are they going to find you? So it does mean a lot, you know, so keep that in mind. You know, a simple tag, a simple shout out, a simple mention, goes a long way for creatives like us, you know, because this is what we're making a living out of. And this is what we do. There's our passion, you know?
And if you don't, it's all good because we're going to get it one way or another.
Right. 100%. Yeah, that's big facts right there. All right, then. So let's start moving towards the end. Recommendations for creatives wanting to start and they don't know how to go about it. 3 tips.
3 tips?
Number one.
Number one is the most important. If you get this one wrong, you're fucked.
Yeah.
Right? Basically, you have to find something that you like. Find something that you like or that you're interested in. That's the first thing. Make
sure you enjoy what you're doing. If you pick up the camera, make sure that you actually enjoy the process of everything from the good to the bad. You know, make sure you enjoy it. That's step number 1.
Number 2 is to start
the journey.
Start the journey. Whether you don't know where to take the first step. You don't know what to do as far as camera. You don't know what button to press, pick up a book, read some shit.
Yeah.
Like, just start.
Get out there.
And then the third one is don't stop. Just keep doing it. You know what I'm saying? Don't be discouraged by not getting a tag. Don't be discouraged by taking some fucked up photos. Don't be discouraged by like somebody not liking your shit or saying, oh, that's a whack photo or whatever. You know what I mean? There's thousands of things that I could probably think of right now that somebody could easily be discouraged, but you just have to put all that to the side and just keep going.
Right. So 3 tips. Make sure you enjoy it.
Start.
And don't stop. Don't stop. Just keep going. And you're going to get to where you need to be.
Don't always believe the experts.
Oh, that's a big one. Yeah.
Don't always believe the experts. I read a book the other day. I don't know if I was telling you this the other day, but don't fucking fact check me on this because I don't know if it's true, but it's inspiring nonetheless. You know what I mean? I could get the dates wrong or whatever, but it's a fundamental fact. Right? You could put this into a different scenario and it'll be true. Don't believe the experts. All right. For the longest time, people thought the 4-minute mile was impossible. Right? From this book that I read, if it's correct, they're talking about back in Rome days. Motherfuckers were trying to run a 4-minute mile. They were drinking tiger's milk, real tiger's milk, trying to do it. Like they were doing all this shit. They thought it was impossible for a human to run a 4-minute mile. All it took was one motherfucker to do it. After that, people believe it was possible. And then now, how many people are able to run a 4-minute mile?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, I can't, but that just goes back to the experts. People, you know what I'm saying? People saying you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this till it's done.
Yeah.
So when you are doing your research, trying to learn something, look at the experts, but realize that you can't let them limit you to what's possible. Cause everything that you see outside of this interview, it started in the mind, right? This microphone, somebody thought of it and somebody's probably like, oh, stupid. You'll probably never be able to use, your idea is stupid. You're not going to be able to pick that up and blah, 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 right? And anything you could think of. And so I would say 4.
I'm going to add to that.
Oh, shit.
Here's a big one. When it comes to the creativity, rules are meant to be broken.
Yeah.
There is no right or wrong.
Yeah.
There is no like, this is the setting for everything.
Yeah.
It's about experimenting. Yeah. It's about changing things up, you know, go behind the wind. Like it doesn't exist to do anything right. Like this is how you're supposed to do it. When it comes to creativity, it's limitless.
Yeah.
There is no right or wrong.
I think it's just a good guideline.
Yes.
It's just a good guideline. Like, all right, cool. This is what's standard.
Right.
But not right or wrong, you know?
Right.
What's right or wrong is from your perspective. Like, you want to capture a certain angle, a certain vibe. Like that's right that you take it this way. Somebody on the other side who has a different perspective, like that's way wrong to them. You know what I'm saying? And that's fine for them, whatever. But yeah, there's no right, there's no wrong. It's just the rules are there for a guideline to, you know what I'm saying?
Right. But don't ever believe that you should have to do things a certain way and that's that and end of story. That's not the case. But anyways, we're going to call this a wrap. I'm Destructive Films. This is my boy, Rick, First Aim Then Shoot on Instagram. Make sure to follow him. We're at 203 Studios in Oxnard. Make sure you tap in and we'll catch you on the next one. We out.